Ladies and gentlemen, I've been in this chamber for a number of budgets. I voted for budgets, and I'd like to be able to vote for a budget again. But there is a stark difference in how the budget has been drafted, certainly in the last 2 years, and how it's been done in previous years. The budget process is no longer a negotiation between duly elected members of this chamber and the Senate. It's an exercise in bullying and absolute power over the hard-working taxpayers of our state. Many members on the other side of the aisle have proven year after year they're not here to represent their district or their constituents. They're not here for our children, for our elderly, for our most fragile citizens. They're here for what's in it for them. A pay raise, a project to garner votes in your district, or to provide favors for friends. This budget includes $500 million in lump sum spending that not only all of the Republican members in this chamber cannot identify, but our taxpayers won't be privy to that information either. To top it off, there's even an appropriation for $400,000 for a project for Twisted Egg Roll, a company in Chicago, for capital improvements. Another insult to our taxpayers. We heard in committee that the tax increases, the transfers, and the sweeps in this budget are to avoid what happened in the Rauner years. I want to remind my colleagues that Governor Rauner inherited a budget that was $1.6 billion out of balance from the start, because the General Assembly passed a budget that spent from temporary income tax increases that were scheduled to sunset. Fast forward to the Pritzker administration and the call for more taxes. The budget has grown by $13 billion since FY20, not including over $10 billion in ARPA and CARES funds. Can anyone here tell me with a straight face that there is nowhere to cut spending, and instead we need to raise taxes and rely on budget gimmicks totaling more than $1 billion? Instead of growing our budget at a moderate pace, we created entirely new programs that are warranting the tax increases you are approving this year and are surely going to continue to increase in future years. We passed a minimum wage increase that was projected to cost the state $1 billion. We gave free health care to undocumented immigrants over the age of 42 that was going to cost over $1 billion, until you finally woke up and paused the enrollment to that program. We've created the Illinois Home Illinois and the Smart Start programs, which will cost taxpayers over $400 million. We have $182 million in added pressures to fund the migrant crisis. We are fully funding MAP grants. Are we really? For how long? We created an entirely new Department of Early Childhood with $14 million in funding just for this year. $485 million from last year's Medicaid omnibus. Illinois does not have a revenue problem. The majority party has an addiction to spending. I'm not knocking these programs. They do a lot of good for some of our neediest people in the state. But we can't just keep going to the taxpayers to solve your spending addictions. Maybe we should add a new line item in the FY26 budget for spending addiction for treatment services for the Democratic supermajority.